Supplements. Are there any rules or regulations on getting a supplement to market? We're going to talk about it today. Welcome to Talking with Docs. I'm Dr. Brad Wayne.
And I'm Dr. Paul Zalza, and we can kind of contrast it to what's involved to getting a prescription drug to market.
Sure, and even we can contrast a little bit Canada versus the US because it's very different.
Looks like it's a video about contrast.
Contrast today. Okay, so why does it matter? Let's start at the very beginning. Why does it matter that supplements don't have to have the rigorous protocols like a drug?
The risk is, and we all, this is our Hippocratic oath we take at the beginning of, or when we're done medical school, do no harm.
Do no harm.
Right? So if you want to provide some kind of medicine or supplement or treatment, more important than doing good is do no harm, right? And when you don't have a good regulatory overview of something, then the risk of doing harm goes up.
Right. Okay, so say you're in the United States right now, and you got an idea for a supplement, and you've somehow figured out a way to hijack a factory, and you've made it. Can you just go start selling it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, which is, I think that's crazy that's a thing.
It is. It's very different than a drug. Something that falls under the prescription category.
Sure.
That has an extremely rigorous pathway to get there. And even with that pathway,
Yes.
harm still does occur sometimes.
And a lot of it really relates to your claims, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to supplements, yes, so shockingly, you can make it, manufacture it, package it. If someone's willing to sell it for you, you're allowed to sell it. And then it gets dealt with later on if there are troubles. So if there are adverse events. So as a supplement maker, you're responsible to talk about the adverse events and report them within 15 days of receiving that information in the US.
It's on the honor system.
It's on the honor system, which I think has a history of maybe breaking down.
Here and there.
You also have a responsibility that if you are making any types of claims that they are based somewhat in science, you don't have to prove them per se, but you may be called upon by the FDA to say, hey, you said this, can you tell us why you think that's true?
Yeah.
And then you also have to maintain those manufacturing standards that we talked about.
Yeah.
Is it the GMP?
GMP
Good
is
manufacturing.
those are the GMP manufacturing process. But to do any of the testing,
Yes.
if you want to do proper testing or testing for a drug that would end up being a prescription,
Yes.
that's GLP, good laboratory process.
Right, but you don't have to test it necessarily for a supplement.
No, you
No,
don't
but you
have
do
to.
have to manufacture it in a safe way. So you have to be free of contaminants and that kind of stuff.
Yes. So I don't know if supplements have to be GMP manufactured.
Apparently,
Is that right?
it's expected. You don't have to prove it. But if it
Yeah.
ever push came to shove and they said, hey, Paul, you can't make that stuff in your backyard,
Yeah.
not allowed.
Right. So the difference is, though, if you are making a drug, this is, like something that's going to end up being a prescription.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a gray area between what medicines should be prescriptions and what can be considered supplements. Right. But if you are going to make a medicine, that is a huge, long process that is regulated by FDA or Health Canada or European equivalents.
Right.
You have to have preclinical data first. So that's like some kind of, usually animal testing or some kind of in vitro testing that proves that, how does this drug get excreted? Is it going out your kidneys? Is it going out your liver? Can it cause cancer? That kind of stuff.
Right, and you have to follow them. Sometimes you have to have some length of the study too, right? Because some things don't show up right away.
This isn't even in people yet.
Right.
And then you ask the regulatory body for a meeting. We say, look, I have this data. Can we have a meeting?
They're like, no.
So it'll be, investigational new drug meeting in the States, a pre-meeting in Canada. And before you even try it on humans.
Right.
And then the FDA or Health Council, we want more information about this, we want more information about that. You might have to go back to the drawing board a little bit.
Yeah.
Then you do your people trials.
Yeah.
And that's phase 1. Phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is a small group just to check, is this doing harm?
Right.
What, how is this metabolized? Phase 2 is a little bit of a bigger group. Does it work? And is there any side effects to it? And then phase 3, that's kind of more like the trials we always talk about, which are your sort of randomized controlled trials to prove that it actually does work. And then once you get your phase 3 done, then you present it to the FDA or Health Canada, and then they say, yeah, you can do it. In addition, you have to prove to them, I can mass manufacture this to supply it to the population, and I can do this in a GMP factory. I have a partner who's a GMP maker who will say, yeah, we'll make it for you.
Okay.
It's a massive process with a high failure rate.
Right, and so we're really mostly talking about supplements. That's all about the drugs.
That's drugs.
Right, but supplements, and that's maybe some way responsible for why supplements say, listen, let's kind of go on the supplement side because it's an easier path, right?
It's you
Way
can't
easier path.
compare. You can't compare the
Right.
two.
In Canada, slightly different. You do have to get a natural product number. So you have to do a bunch of stuff before you can sell a supplement in Canada. So you have to say what it is, say how it's manufactured. You have to talk a little bit about your scientific claims. You don't necessarily have to have data, but there needs to be some evidence, some form that kind of proves what you're talking about even exists.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's really unique about supplements is you have to use very specific language. So you cannot use the term prevent, treat, or cure in relation to any supplement. Even if it does that, or you believe that it does that, you can't say that on the bottle.
Right.
You have to say maintains, supports, promotes, kind of more vague stuff, which I think they like anyway.
Yeah.
Because then later on we say, you know, it says it maintains my health, but no, I didn't cure my arthritis. Like, or you can't even say that it reduces pain.
No.
You're not allowed to say that.
No, but it's amazing how good they are at doing that, because when it goes from what they say to what the end user interprets, they usually come into our office and say, yeah, I heard this, cures arthritis.
Yeah.
Or I heard this.
If you play the video back, you're like, no, see, they didn't say cures.
Yeah, it's true. So there's very crafty ways of using that language to convey a different message.
Well, and even the governing bodies will send letters back to them. So say there's been a complaint saying they said it does this and it's not doing that. They say, well, listen, you can't say this, but you might want to say this. They'll give you like a little bit of assistance potentially. And often these people have large legal teams to say, hey guys, let's be really careful about what we say.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, why would you take a supplement if it's not going to prevent, cure, or
I think because you hope that it does.
Yeah.
And you don't want to take a drug.
Selling hope.
Yeah,
that's a good
I
point.
think you are selling hope for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's why, and a lot of people are anti-drug, and I get that. I have lots of patients come into our office and say, I just really don't want to take any pills. And you're like, I get it. You're a younger person, you don't feel very sick, but you want to do something for your health, but you don't want to take a pill.
And I think the other thing, the majority of the supplements that are out there are copycats of pre-existing supplements.
For sure.
So you have this predicate supplement, so it makes the pathway even easier. You can say, look, I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just putting turmeric in another bottle with another name.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, well, that's even easier. You need to do just about nothing to enable yourself to do that.
Right. And so ultimately, if they are lying or being dishonest, if there are negative health outcomes or if there are complaints, then the FDA looks at it and then says, hey, you have to stop selling it, you have to change your wording, you have to change your claims, and then there might be fines involved. But a lot of people are just getting out there, let's sell it first, and then we'll kind of ask for forgiveness rather than permission.
And having said that, we want you to try our Talking with Docs supplement that cures everything and makes
No, it doesn't cure.
No,
it might promote everything.
It promotes nothing, and might make you giggle.
Right.
Promotes laughter.
And these are the things. So
we don't have a supplement. I was just
we
kidding.
definitely do not have a supplement. But that's kind of the take-home message. So if you are going to take something, make sure that they do some safety testing for sure. Like even if it's, say, could be heavy metals, they're everywhere, or microplastics. You want to make sure that that stuff's not in there, and be cognizant of the fact that they don't have to prove a lot of this
They're
stuff.
not super regulated. There's no one. You are in charge of your own health. There's no one watching over that for you. Now, I saw an interesting video. I was watching there's this doctor I follow, and he's quite inflammatory. He's like, the healthcare system in the U.S. is broken.
He's American?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he's. I think he's originally British, but he's now an American citizen.
Okay.
And he's an internal medicine type guy, and he's like metabolic health, this and like he has a good message, but it's a little bit too inflammatory.
Okay.
About avoiding inflammatories.
Yes.
But so he goes on about how there is the medical industry machine,
Sure, because it's for-profit medicine there. That's complicated.
And we're all in for-profit medicine, right? We get paid for what we do at the end of the day. Although it's not.
But healthcare here is not.
No,
in Canada,
that's
it's
true.
Not for-profit necessarily.
And so he goes on about how doctors should never be involved with pharma at all because
too much bias.
There's too much bias. How can I'm surprised I even have to say this. He's saying, and I was like, okay, he's got some interesting points. He's a little bit too extreme for my liking.
Right. And this may become an issue with the recent election and some of the appointments, right?
Yes, he was going on about some of the appointments and some of the concerns that people had, and he was all for it and whatnot. And I was like, he's got some interesting points. And at the end of it, he's like, so you should try my supplement, and goes on to ask people to purchase his supplement. And I thought, you know what? you were doing pretty good until the very end. Maybe we'll do a video about him one day.
Okay.
But you're
I'd like
doing
to.
okay, a little bit too extreme, but then at the end you kind of lose everything when you're saying, hey, buy my supplement.
And that's kind of always been our thing. Like we've been asked to promote or to review or talk about other stuff, and we've resisted it thus far just because we're not sure that it's the right thing for us, and allows us to maintain kind of, people can come here knowing, hey, we're not selling you anything.
No, we're not selling anything. But anyway, so I did look up his supplement.
Yeah.
It's basically like black pepper, turmeric, and a few different sort of natural things. But to your point, they do make the claim that says this will not prevent, cure, or treat any disorder.
Yep.
That was fair. But the majority of the website talked about the name of the supplement and what it means. So it's all about marketing with the supplement world.
Snake oil.
You're buying a name of something because it has a fancy meaning behind it rather than it actually doing anything.
There you go. Now you know. Leave a comment if you take a supplement, if you believe in one, if you had one that maybe you feel like you got duped by. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. Be careful, spend your money wisely. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe to our channel.
Most of them are safe. But
Yes, and some of them can really help you.
They can,
Yep.
but they do cost money.
They
So
do.
at the end of the day, the two people are trying to take money from you
Yes.
for these reasons. You are in charge of your own health and whatever supplements you choose to take.
See you next time.